What's going on, producers? This is Kobe with Sample Source, back with another video, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about how to price your beats, and I'm also going to be talking about, is it better to be part-time as a music producer or to pursue that full-time marker? So this is going to be an unedited video. It's just going to be a raw conversation. It's not going to be any fancy editing like I usually do, so I'm just going to jump right into it. So the first thing I want to talk about is pricing. I get a lot of questions about this, so I'm going to talk about how to overcome the pricing objection for like custom beats and exclusives, and then I'm also going to talk about how you should price your exclusives, how you should price your leases. And this is just my opinion. Obviously, there's absolutely no rules to the game. So there's some people selling their exclusives for $3,000. There's other people selling their exclusives for $150. And both of those people could be successful at what they're doing. So define what success looks like for you, and then that will kind of lead you towards what your pricing is going to be at, because there's so many people who are going to frown on low prices, and there's a lot of people who are also going to push for higher prices and not sell anything at all. So that is something to keep in mind before I jump into the pricing end. So let's talk about how to overcome the pricing objection if you're selling custom beats or if you're selling an exclusive. So this is not as big of an issue as you would think. Of course, they have to have the money. But what I usually do for custom beats to overcome the pricing objection is to explain that is going to be a low risk thing for them. It's not going to be high risk just because they're paying a high price. And so when you explain it in a certain way, it allows them to look at it through the lens of, I'm actually not risking putting my money in this, because if anything goes wrong, I can get my money back. So that's the first ideal. So what I usually tell them is, I only ask for half up front, and then you don't have to pay anything else until you're completely satisfied with the beat. Then we get squared away on the other half. So that's how I usually do it. And the reason I say that I ask for that instead of I charge that much or you would have to pay that much is because it's basically humanizing that element instead of looking at it through the lens of a transaction, because we're dealing with human beings. So we're not robots, so we want to deal with them personally. And so that's what I always say. I say I ask for half up front. And the reason I only ask for half up front is because a lot of times, if you ask for the full amount up front, it just feels like such a big decision. But when you only ask for half, and then they don't even have to pay anything else until they're completely satisfied with the beat, that just makes it so much easier for the artist to say yes to that transaction. The second half of it that I let them know is, like, if anything goes wrong, like if I make you a completely trash beat or something like that, then I wouldn't even ask for the money. I would give you your money back if you're unsatisfied with the beat. So that's the second thing to think about, is give the artist peace of mind of letting them know that if something just goes completely south and the worst possible things happen and you cannot satisfy them as a client, that you would give them their money back. So that's how I get past the price objection for custom beats. And for exclusives, what I usually do is, if they are having a problem with price, I let them know, hey, get an unlimited lease and then come back and you can pay the rest towards that exclusive beat. And you don't even have to, that original $100 you paid for an unlimited lease, that counts towards your purchase. And I do that with any of my leases. You know, if they buy an MP3 lease for $30, they can go and upgrade it to an unlimited lease, which is $100, and they would only have to pay $70. So that way it really gets past that price objection, because they can stair step up that price ladder and that value ladder towards getting your highest priced product without having to pay the highest price immediately. So that's one way that I get past that objection. The second way that I get past the objection for exclusive beats, a lot of times they are having a problem in the past. They've been jaded by some kind of experience that happened to them. And so what I like to offer them is a agreement. So I go and write up an agreement, and then I say, this is how the agreement is going to look like. This has the price on it. It has that you're getting the sole rights to the beat. I talked about this in my last video. So if you want to get a free license agreement template, I have that in the description. You can go and download it completely for free. Basically, all you do is put your information in all the bolded areas. It's like 5 or 6 different areas. And that way you can put, like, whether it's an exclusive beat, whether it's a lease, or whatever it is. And that way the artist knows exactly what they're getting, especially if it's a transaction that's not happening through BeatStars and they're not going to get an auto-generated license agreement. Maybe you're going through Cash App or PayPal, completely separate of any website. and that way you can still have a professional agreement. So make sure you go and download that, the link in the description. But to get back to the video, that is definitely a huge thing that really gets past that objection, because they know that they have something in writing that binds them to an agreement. And I don't say contract, I say agreement, because when you say contract, they start thinking, am I going to need a lawyer to look at this or anything? But it's simply an agreement, and you can dumb down all the words if you want to make them even more comfortable with it. Because I know when I make agreements with third parties and partners and things like that, I don't want to have to read through a bunch of verbiage, and that way I don't know if I need to go and get a lawyer to go and look at it and pay them $1,000 to make sure that this person is not screwing me over. So that's something to think about. But it really helps you to get past the objection by offering a license agreement. That way they know what they're getting, and they just have so much more peace of mind. So that's pricing, and now I want to jump into pricing your other beats. So I've experimented with some other prices, and what I was doing when I was really leasing a lot of beats, I would just offer 3 different basic license types. I know some people have 4, 5, 6, but I just like to do the MP3, the Wave, and the stem track out. And what I just price those pretty standardly at $30, $50, and $100. One thing that I did differently though is I changed basically the license type for a Wave. Instead of them having to go to the stem track out to get the unlimited, I made the $50 option for just the WAV file unlimited as well. And so what I said whenever I'm pitching my products through manual outreach on Instagram, I would say, hey, I'm not like other producers where I put lots of stipulations on what you can do with the beat. Basically, it's completely unlimited if you get a Wave or a stem track out, and you can do whatever you want with it. You can do an unlimited amount of streams, you can do a limited amount of radio plays, you can do a limited amount of music videos, whatever you want to do with the beat. You can do that, short of having exclusive rights and copywriting it, all of that stuff. So that really helped me to sell a lot of beats, is by basically lowering the grounds for getting an unlimited license. So that's what I do with pricing. I've also experimented where I only had 2 options, which were just the Wave and the stem track out, trying to be like more of a premium brand and stuff like that. But honestly, as far as getting organic sales, I've never gotten a lot of organic sales. I've always had to either message a lot of people or post lots of content and get people into my pipeline to get sales like that, or collab with a lot of producers to bring in that income. So that's something to think about. If you're trying to get organic sales, then you might want to price your stuff lower. You want to always offer an MP3 license. That's going to be the go-to for beginners or people just trying to get their feet wet. So, but there's really no science to it. I've seen people offer beats for 99 cents. I've seen some people have their MP3 license as $79. You know, and both of those business models could work. It just matters how much traffic you're getting and the quality of leads that you're getting into your business. So as far as pricing, that really is just a playground of experimentation. And if you don't have any traffic coming into your store, don't expect any pricing changes to really make a difference. But what I would do is I would stick to or go slightly below the industry standard. So if they're doing $29.30 for an MP3, maybe you start at $24.99. If they're doing $49.99 for a Wave license, then maybe you can do $34.99 for your Wave license. And that way people are going to say, this is a steal. I'm going to pick this every time, especially if they're just coming across your BeatStars page from just swiping through beats on there. Then it'd be a lot easier to get organic sales if your stuff is priced lower. So I've seen people do this model. They'll do like they'll do $19.99 for an MP3. They'll do like $34.99 for a Wave, or $39.99 for a Wave, and then for the stem track out they'll charge $79.99 or something like that. And that way it's a little bit more affordable, and they'll be able to pick up a lot more organic sales from YouTube and BeatStars. So if you're going that route and you're trying to get the passive sales, I would advise that you keep your prices actually lower. But if you are doing a lot of content on Instagram and stuff like that, you're kind of going to be more of a boutique brand. Maybe you want to raise your prices or not even offer an MP3, and that way people start to see the value in that because you are a premium brand. So I want to move on to part-time versus full-time music producers and what the differences are, and what you can expect moving into full-time producer. And so what I want to talk about in this video is it more fun to produce on the side, or is it more fun to produce full-time? And so what I want to kind of pull the veil back on is the fact that it is not nearly as fun producing full-time as it is part-time. So when I produced part-time, and I wasn't working part-time, I was working full-time, but on the weekends, after work, after I got back from the gym, hanging out with friends, I would go and just produce as much as I could until I had to go to sleep so that I could get up in the morning, go to work to my 9 to 5. And that was way more fun because I had such a limited window to work on stuff. It just felt so much more valuable. Now that I've quit my job and I've been doing this for over 2 years now, what I can say is when you wake up and every day is a Saturday morning, it's a lot different. It's not nearly as fun because there's no contrast. You can't say like my 9 to 5, this is really a burden for me, or maybe it's just a lot more pressure, and then there's this release where I can move into working on music, and this can be escapism basically. But whenever that part of your life that was escapism now turns into your full-time reality, there's nothing to contrast it against something that's either, maybe it's good or bad, it doesn't matter, but it's different is the point I'm trying to make. So waking up and having all of these tasks to do, and you can just fill up your day with anything that you want to, is definitely there's definitely a lack of direction if you don't have if you don't wake up with a purpose. So that's the thing you have to think about. You have to schedule your days ahead of time, and that way you're giving yourself tasks to do, because before your boss was doing that. And so it's just a lot different. And so you may not want to be full-time, because if you have trouble being self-motivated, if you have trouble being a self-starter, then you're going to have huge issues being full-time as a producer. It's going to be depressing because you're not really getting the social interaction that you're getting in the workplace if you're working with a lot of coworkers. So you want to keep all of those things in mind. You want to have a lot of systems in place to counteract all those different things. So I wanted you to be aware of that, because if you're chasing after something that is ultimately going to be unfulfilling, I want to help you to make the best decision. So one decision that you could make, instead of producing full-time, you could do part-time and have a part-time job as well. So if you can build your business up to the point where you can make $1,000 or $2,000 a month off of your beats, and you can go and compensate that with a part-time job, and that way you're able to work full-time or take care of your family or whatever, then you'll be able to produce more of the time. Maybe not all the time, but you're going to have basically all the time you need to produce and get all of the work in that you want to, and basically still have that escapism element to it while being able to support yourself and being able to semi-support yourself off of music as well. So I think that would be one of the better decisions you can make if you're not self-motivated to go and set up your own tasks to do. Then you can just use music as a tool to make a side gig as a side hustle. So that's the point that I want to make. So make sure that you weigh those things, you think about it before you get there, because if you're chasing after something that ultimately is not going to be a direction you want to go in, then you should probably change paths as quickly as possible. So that's what this video is about. I hope that you don't feel like this is something that you don't want to do, because I enjoy producing full time. I enjoy waking up and having things to do and setting my own tasks and pivoting my businesses and things like that. But it's definitely not for everybody. There's a lot of stress that goes with being your own boss, and so that's something to keep in mind. Now, if you are planning to be full-time, I think the easiest way to do it is to do custom work. And so I've been doing custom work for a long time, since 2019 basically. Been doing a lot of custom beats for artists, and it's definitely the more fulfilling part of what I do, because I get to work on something and then they get to tell me if they like it or not, and then whenever they're satisfied, then I'm satisfied as a producer, because I've made a piece of art that they enjoy. So if you're wanting to get into the custom beats business model, I actually have something free for you as well, other than the license agreement template, which you can use whenever you're doing your agreements for custom beats. I actually have a custom beats framework, and basically what that is, it's a framework for selling custom beats that allows you to think about if this is a good fit for you, if this business model is something that would be beneficial to you, and it kind of talks about scaling that business and what that would look like, how much time you would dedicate to each task basically within that business, and a lot of misconceptions that people have about the Custom Beats business model. So if you want that free goodie, then basically you can go into the description. It's going to be the first or the second link, and you can go and check it out. It's completely for free. Just put in your email. And I hope this video has been beneficial for you guys. I hope it's kind of enlightened you to some things about pricing, overcoming price objections, as well as being a full-time or a part-time producer. So hopefully this video has helped you in some way, shape, or form. If it has, then please like and comment on this video and subscribe to the channel. I'll be putting out new content soon for you guys, and I'm excited about that. Hope you are too, and I'll see you guys in the next video.